Hey guys, I'm Andrew McCormick. Welcome to Web3 TV. In today's video, I'm with Jeff Bogensberger, founder and CEO of the Laughing Otter DAO. And we're going to discuss the inspiring story of the Laughing Otter DAO, which is building a global community of people using blockchain technology who want reasons to be happy, share experiences, support the arts, and make a positive social impact. But before we do, make sure you register to watch every episode of Web3 TV here, where we share inspiring stories of all things Web3, making a difference to the world. All sorted? Okay, let's go and meet Jeff. Jeff, welcome to Web3 TV.
Thanks for having me.
Jeff, you're the CEO and the founder of the Laughing Otter, which is building a global community of people using blockchain technology who want reasons to be happy, share experiences, support the arts, and make a positive social impact. You've got a proven record in establishing high-growth startups and providing strategic leadership that focuses on driving growth and streamlining operations. And you've got a passion for making a positive impact on mental health and improving the lives of children around the world. So, with such a great background, how did this incredible journey begin?
Well, really, it began right from the cradle, I guess. My parents ran their own business, and my brothers and I were involved in it right from the beginning. Ever since we could hold a shovel or a rake, we were part of it. So. And then just growing up, I was always around business and entrepreneurs, and it always just fascinated me. And then just progressed through a career in various business roles in startups and in the corporate world. And then about 2 years ago, almost to the day now, I turned 50, and I decided that the last third of my career had to be about more than just simply making money. Although the Laughing Otter is a for-profit business, but the idea is that it can make a big social impact as well. And I wanted to have that included in the last third of my career.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So what was the deeper purpose there? What was the turning point or the fork in the road that you sort of realized it's not all about money anymore? What was the inspiration?
It was probably three things that really kind of triggered that it's time to do this. One was COVID. I was working for a company that was in the health and fitness world, and I could see the writing on the wall that things weren't going to be that good for anybody in that space. So I started looking at ways to change, and I also started getting rather disillusioned with the corporate world and the purpose of it, and sitting in boardrooms and having conversations where all you want to do is blow the whistle and go, like, time out. Does anybody else realize that this conversation is ridiculous? Like, we all know we're just reading from a script. And like, if one more person uses a buzzword, I think I'm going to drown them in the fruit platter or something. But I started getting a little, I knew I had to do more. And then over the last few years, there was the birth of my son. And although I've always had a real soft spot for children and the underdog, the birth of my son just heightened that empathy, not only for children who are suffering, but for the parents of those children. Where I live here in Melbourne, I'm 10, 15-minute drive away from 7 of the greatest hospitals in the world. And so when my son cries and my wife and I don't know what we need to do, we just hop in a car, and 10 minutes later we're getting a diagnosis, and we know how to fix it. Can't imagine the hell it must be when you're watching your children cry, and the only reason they stop crying is because they're exhausted, either from hunger or sickness, and there's nothing you can do. And to no fault of your own, to no lack of love, to no lack of caring. It's just you're in an environment that just does not allow it. So that was a really big, when I was deciding on the direction of Laughing Otter, of what I knew I wanted to make a difference in the world, but where I was heading, that was one of them. It had to be involving children. And the other one, sadly, I lost a friend who took his own life. And that was a really eye-opener, not only in his case, but also the amount of people I looked around who are in my friend, like in my social circles and in my network, but people who from the outside are fine. Like they got homes, they got food, they got a car, they got family. But then you look in their eyes and people opened up and started saying, I'm not doing that well. Like this last 10 years has not been fun for anyone. With everything from, and this is not a political statement, it's just a fact. Trump, Brexit, refugees in South America, in Syria, watching a little boy get washed up on shore in Turkey, the war in the Ukraine, climate change, and then all of the usual stuff that bombards us, and then you layer COVID on top of it, and people have had it. Like in my lifetime, this is the worst period of time that anybody has gone through, and so I saw an opportunity to, okay, let's remind people that actually the world is improving. Every day we're better than we were the day before. If we don't listen to traditional media channels and social media, all the stats on quality of life are improving drastically, and so that was a big part of it. And then where the next stage was, about a little over a year ago, somebody told me about DAOs and Web3 and what was going on. And I wasn't involved in crypto trading or anything like that. I was trying to get the Laughing Otter going. So I wasn't speculating or anything like that or buying NFTs. So I wasn't really paying that much attention. But then when I found out that there's hundreds of millions of people out there that are looking to change and to have positive conversations around helping people, around climate change and disrupting archaic institutions that are artificially holding people back. I heard about this and I went, well, geez, I got to get on that wave. This is, it's not about the technology. It's about real people having real conversations and about where the world's heading. And so that led me down the DAO blockchain path, and I've never been happier.
That's amazing, mate. So what was the original vision for Laughing Otter? Sounds like it's changed over the last year now that you've been drip fed, I guess, into the world of Web3. But yeah, what was the original vision? What is it now? And then why was Web3 your platform of choice, I guess, for delivery?
Okay, so the overall vision has not changed drastically. Like the real high-end mission statement has always been improve global mental health and the lives of children around the world. That hasn't changed. But the catalyst, what I saw was a community and tools that allowed me to spread that message in a way that I couldn't before. And there's technology that lends itself well to things like, for example, we run NFTs for not-for-profits, so it's a really good fundraising tool for not-for-profits. I really like a lot of, not necessarily we're Laughing Otter, but I definitely want to be a part of this movement of using blockchain and Web3 to help underprivileged people and the unbanked of the world to be able to grow their own financial wealth. I think a real powerful tool in Web3, and the Laughing Otter will leverage this as well, is the peer-to-peer interaction. So whether that's for people to generate their own personal wealth, but also in supporting artists and removing a lot of the bureaucracy that ends up eroding the profits of arts and artists. That really excites me. I also see that evolving even further. Right now, the real focus is on artists and musicians, but I see it going to all sorts of art, but all sorts of creative of tools, and almost Web3 acting as a bit of a crowdfunding mechanism with personal financial incentives. I see there's no reason why an NFT can't be created or utilizing blockchain to support robotics, to support clean energy, anything really that people drive up, because it's still a creative process where the owners should retain that IP and the value with it, along with the people who support them, rather than it being eroded through corporate channels and VCs and traditional investment channels.
For sure. So we got a great connection there too. We've got a platform that's all about the crowdfunding and everything else in Web3. So we should connect you on that at some point. But tell me, what is, for the viewers' sake, what is the Laughing Otter? What's your elevator pitch?
A really bad one. That's the honest truth. I struggle with it, but really, the elevator pitch is I'm creating a global brand around improving mental health and helping children. The idea is, by having that umbrella vision, then whether it's on-chain, off-chain, online, offline, everything that makes entrepreneurial and business sense for the Laughing Otter is fair game and worthy of consideration. So right now we have everything from NFTs. We're building a play-to-earn game that has social impact in the real world ramifications. We have merchandise. We have a podcast. We have a website that's nothing but positive content. There's events being planned. There's some of the other like sponsorships are on the cards with some of the areas I want to go is, well, I'm Canadian. I got this pipe dream that someday that the Laughing Otter will sponsor an ice hockey team somewhere. But I also would love to sponsor an e-gaming team, stuff like that. So really it's this, as long as it creates happiness and it's something fun for people, and there's a potential to improve brand equity through giving back to the community and helping children and improving mental health. And the most important is, and it's profitable, then everything can be. A friend of mine kind of summed it up as, you sound like the Web3 version of Disney if Disney and UNICEF had a baby. So there, how's that for an elevator pitch? I think we'd have to be in the Empire State Building or something like that to get through that elevator pitch.
Classic. So yeah, obviously a lot of key things going on there. I love the NHL thing too, mate. You'd call it the Laughing Otters, right? Like the Mighty Ducks, but the Laughing Otters would be the team name.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I'd be I don't know if I'd have it'd be an emotional struggle when they played the Leafs. So, but I think I know where my bias would go.
Very cool. So what I'm hearing is it's a mental health improvement or support platform and community for that, ultimately for children. But who else is it for? Like, obviously it's going to be for creators who share that type of content. It's going to be for, I'm assuming adults as well are going to benefit. So who's your key market?
really, my key market is anyone, the children's side of it, yes, but the mental health side of it is anyone who just wants to engage with something that's more positive than traditional social media and media, and giving people reasons to connect. That's on a plot, like they just want to. They'd rather read an article about. One of my favorites is of late was an article about a man in New York who built a music studio for homeless kids, and like I'd rather read that than another more bullshit on what's happening in Mar-a-Lago with Trump. Like it is, people have had enough of that, and instead of just scrolling through, Facebook of people complaining about what's going on in the world, or people showing pictures of a fabricated life, then you can actually read things that put you in a good mood. And that's the website. All the events will be of positive nature, and it's anything that's fun. It doesn't have to be like a meditation seminar or something. That's not the place I want to play. I want to play, one of my mates at Municipal Wines. It's a local Australian brand that he's promoting, and we're organizing a wine tasting here in Melbourne. So it can be small like that, all the way to as the Laughing Otter gains momentum. I'm a drummer, so music, like holding music concerts, is always top of mind. So anything that's fun and brings people together, and then we can share some of those profits with not-for-profits that are helping children or in the mental health space. That's the vision. That makes.
Yeah, it's a powerful vision. I guess, like, if I look at you and I'm listening to you and I'm trying to tune into you, what's the ultimate outcome that you want for the people that engage in it? So you mentioned fun. There's depth there. You want mental health support. You don't want too much depth though, because you don't want to be like, say, a meditation side of things. What's the one thing that you'd like to see come out of it the most?
It's probably two things. One, just people start the day just in a better mood, just like so. Then that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, where they get in the car, they're in a better mood. They're more courteous as a driver. They go into the workplace, they're in a better mood, and they're nicer to the people around them. And then all those people are just in a better mood. So just being in a better mood and whether they're looking forward to a concert, whether they're read something interesting, whether they just bought something that made them happy. That's a big part of what I want them to be. And I also want to play where I want to play is in reminding people of the positive side of life. And because you get bombarded with everything that's wrong in the world. Like if you really just if we listen just to traditional media and social media and everything, we would walk out of the house in battle gear because our neighbors are so awful and everything. But that's not the truth. And so just reminding them of that. And also what's important to me is hopefully I can play a positive role in before people get to the point where they need professional help. And because there are really good organizations and really good people and please do reach out. If you're struggling, please reach out. There's a lot of people who will help you. Where I want to play is giving people reminders how the world is actually pretty good and it's improving, and giving them reasons to be happy and vehicles to be happy so that they don't get to that stage. But then I guess that's the Laughing Otter, but behind the scenes, I'd also like to become, or like the Laughing Otter to become a voice for children and mental health, probably not as aggressively as Greta Thunberg is for climate change, but to have that level of impact and just creating overall awareness that that these are issues that we need to be looking at.
Mm. It's interesting. You're trying to spread good news right now. You'd be aware of this. That it doesn't sell, does it? Good news, because that's what the media talks about, right? And I don't want to say that in a negative way, because I'm all for what you're doing, man. I think it's awesome. But clearly, it's not about the money, is it? There's a deeper purpose behind that, which is about obviously the community and the support and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, and I people tell me that too. Like, that's the website and the news side of things. That's just one vehicle, and if that's a profit neutral or it loses a bit of money, but it creates awareness, and then the profits come from elsewhere. That's fine. But I also a little bit optimistic that people are pretty sick, or like there's at least a segment of society that getting pretty sick of your CNN, Fox, the Age here, the Sun here. Like, it's been 25 years since I picked up a newspaper, because it's fiction, but it's negative fiction.
Mm.
So I think there is a segment of society that wants to hear positive news. And a great example of that is TED's Talks. TED's Talks has huge following, and there are people who would prefer to watch that. And you look at Hollywood. There's enough feel good movies that people love to watch and tear up to. So I know that traditional media, like, it does sell. The reactionary sound bites, it does sell, but maybe I'm optimistic in my fellow man that we can start elevating our conversations again back out of the sewer and have more positive interactions with each other. And that's one beautiful thing about Web3 is that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it's a beautiful purpose, mate. It's quite sickening that negativity sells, right? Like that, and that's why they keep feeding it, the mainstream media, with the garbage that just vomit really on your lounge room every night while the TV's on with the news. It's just paid ads essentially for a lot of corruption and greed and fear, and because they know it's just making money, right? So all for your
and you watch it. The news has no longer become a presentation of facts. It's marketing tools for the figureheads. It's it's their own fame that they're trying to drive, and it's just it's painful.
Yes, quite sickening indeed, mate. So with the Laughing Otter, you've got a DAO, you've got a token, you've got an NFT. How does that all fit together to support the members of the community and the artists and creators, etc.? Okay,
so the NFTs that have been released so far, they always have a social impact or a cause behind them. So we partner with not-for-profits. Any of the NFTs that we are going to sell for the only one we have right now that's truly a Laughing Otter one is a founder's NFT, and that includes tokens and profit sharing. So the Laughing Otter tokens themselves haven't been released yet because we're working out the tokenization, but it will be released somewhere around probably March, April of this year. And I don't understand tokens that don't offer profit sharing. So why would anybody own a token that doesn't financially benefit you? So that'll be top of mind, will be somehow working some sort of dividends or profit sharing into the tokens. And also it will give token holders access to areas and events, discussions that and voting that others wouldn't have.
So give me a use case there. So if I came to your website and I buy the token, first things first, why am I buying it? What's in it for me? And then how am I profit sharing on it? And then at the back end of it, how is it working for you?
Okay, so I do want to caveat this with the details are still being worked out. I don't, in the world of finance and FTX and et cetera, I don't want to mislead anyone. So we're working out the details, and when they're released, I want everybody to look closely at what they're getting for their money. My purpose in this is to make the world a happier place, and I definitely don't want to have a whole bunch of pissed off token holders. So I just want to put that caveat out there. My vision is that token holders, well, one, I would like to think that people who get involved share the vision of helping kids and improving global mental health. Like, I look at a photo or a video or anything of starving kids or 8-year-olds holding AK-47s, or refugees, children washing up on shore because all their parents wanted to do is give them a better life. And for whatever it's worth, it sickens me to the core. It's hard for me to even say those last few sentences. Like I'm just hardwired that way. And I know that there are millions of people out there that share this, that starving kids is a no-no. Kids who can't go to school is bullshit. Here in Australia, there's thousands of kids that go to school hungry and can't buy their school bags and have no shoes on their feet. That's absolutely asinine in Australia, let alone the rest of the world. Like and so I'd like to believe that people share the vision. They're all, like I said, how the profit sharing, I don't know, because I'll need to sit down with, I'm already working with some tokenization experts, and I need to sit down with them again as we progress through this and really flush out what makes financial sense, rewards the token holders, but still maintains stability for the Laughing Otter. But I also like the full access would be the other one that I don't see any reason why community members and token holders wouldn't be the first to get access to events, to concerts, to merchandise, to anything like that. So and the reason what's in it for me is millions of kids get a better life. We're all get a bit happier, and having a loyal community. Like, this isn't a new business model. If you build a loyal community that believes in your vision, then there's all sorts of opportunities to engage and to monetize and to be able to support the Laughing Otter. And the exciting part for me is that it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy in a snowballing effect, where we build the community, we raise some money, we sell some stuff, it becomes profitable. We give a bunch of that to causes and make a difference. That becomes a PR and marketing opportunity. We tell the world, hey, look, the Laughing Otter community and token holders just built a school in Africa, or a thousand kids in New York just got books, whatever. And then the brand grows, and then we do it again. And every time we do that circle, it becomes more powerful, and more people get involved, and more people get excited. So there's a lot in there. It's all tied to emotion, and like I said, it's not a new business model. Everyone from Kiss to Harley Davidson does it really, really well. you get a loyal following, and then you monetize. But instead of being a motorcycle and sorry, Kiss fans, a pretty average band but amazing marketing machine, the Laughing Otter is you're not getting behind a motorbike, you're getting behind helping people.
Yeah,
and it's a pretty fun way to wake up every Monday morning. I got to tell you that.
Yeah, it must be easy to get up, mate, because what I'm really hearing, it's about the giving is the receiving. It's not about the cash. The DAO, the token, the NFT is just a way of managing the community so they can feel like they're making a difference, they're giving back, but also potentially making something from it. But the reality is, when I think about it, I'm sure they don't care whether they receive much back. What they're getting to is the giving. They want to support a good cause, and the Laughing Otter is a way of managing that process in a Web3 world as opposed to, Web2 world. The other interesting thing I heard years ago, Jeff, was there's enough money in the world for everyone to be a millionaire, right? But 50% of the world are living on less than $2 a day. So it's a distribution of wealth problem. It's not about a money problem, right? So what you're suggesting is a way to distribute that through Web3 technology.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the biggest exciting parts of Web3 is that distribution of wealth, peer-to-peer. And I have to admit, up until I got involved in Web3, I'd never heard the term unbanked. But I think everybody listening to this should know that word. And that is the billions of people in the world that do not have a bank account or a credit card, which means it's impossible to get a loan, to get a home loan, to invest, to do anything that allows you to build your own personal wealth. So Web3 and crypto and blockchain, there are a number of vehicles being used for people to be able to buy and to invest in their own financial gain. And that's super exciting for me. Absolutely. And not forget, but even if we shift away from money for a moment, it's ridiculous that here in Australia, I read in the news yesterday that supermarkets, the amount of food that gets thrown into landfills, and then yet there are 15,000 kids dying a day because they don't have clean water. Like it's until we start looking at these problems from a global sense and redistributing resources, we're always going to have problems. But like you said, just like with money, there's more than enough clean water in the world that nobody should have to worry about it. There are more than enough technologies out there to purify water and all that. Clean water shouldn't even be a discussion anymore. There are tools available that climate change should not even be a discussion. There are like everything from clean energy options to nuclear. There are ways that we can do this if we work together as a global community rather than having these archaic borders and this belief that because I was born wealthy or I happened to be born in amongst this geographical location that somehow I'm entitled to a life of freedom and happiness and dreams that others aren't. Like I know myself, like I was born in Canada to parents that worked really hard and provided for my brothers and I. The school system in Canada is fantastic. If you don't have enough money, there's student loans that are very, very reasonable. So everybody can go to school. Now I have a passport in Canada. I have a passport in Australia. I won the lottery. I absolutely won the lottery. And I'm the first one to admit that any success I had, a lot of it is based on luck of that factor, those factors right there. There's a lot of people who they're not even in the starting gate. So that is really under a lot, that mentality underpins a lot of what the Laughing Otter is about. This idea of giving everybody a fair chance and a fair start in life. And then if you blow it, well, then that's your problem. Or on the other side, if you take that opportunity and you really run with it, you become successful, well, fantastic. You deserve everything that you get. But you don't deserve it if you don't even, if you're living in a house where your dad beats you every day and you can't go to school because you haven't eaten in a week because your parents haven't looked after you. That's not the case. Not even slightly.
It's a pretty sad state, isn't it? When you talk about, so the borders is one, obviously creates a lot of problems, a lot of war. The banking system's an interesting one when millions of people can't have a bank account. Like, that's just madness. But also, as you said, we're lucky. I was born in New Zealand. You're born in Canada. We were just lucky that we were born there, right? We didn't choose that. We just happened to be born there. So the guys in, say, Africa or wherever in a third world nation, it's a tough start, isn't it? So obviously, Laughing Otter is a solution to that. It's what I love to hear is the underlying drive behind it is to fix those broken systems as well, to then make that difference to all people, give them that chance, give them the fairness. What about fairness in relation to the creators and artists? So you've got one side of it is the people who benefit from the good moods that are being projected by the artists and creators, etc. How do you see them, the creators and the artists, playing a part in Laughing Otter?
Well, being a drummer myself and a big music fan, I would love to see that an opportunity for a disruption in the music industry, especially. And I think that NFTs and people taking, where I see it is artists taking responsibility for their own business is where I see that. So, and being able to build their own community, which then takes but in doing so, the artist is also absorbing some of the risk, which is typically why record companies and promoters and that take such a big cut of profits, is because they absorb the majority of the risk as well. So I see it that artists are then able to take their own ownership and with the tools that are available in Web3, to be able to do things like sell their music, sell their art, sell their tickets to events. And so eliminating the need for, or at least reducing the need for promoters, especially in an early stage, so that artists can make a living at the beginning. It's really tough for musicians right now because like the tools that are available, like Spotify and that. I think I read something like 70,000 new songs get added to Spotify every hour or something like that, and they vet a lot of the songs. So who's to say what's good or not? And as a music fan, what I'd like to see is a turn back in time that's pre Napster, pre Idol franchise, where it wasn't all just cookie cutter bands that got promoted. Like some of my favorite bands would like from everybody from like Led Zeppelin, Jethro Tull, Pink Floyd, Iron Maiden. These bands would not even get looked at in today's music industry, but there's definitely a following. And so I see the artists being able to take more control over what they're doing, and building those communities in the same way that the Laughing Otter is building our community. Artists can build their own fan base, and the exciting part then is like if you're an artist and you're promoting yourself, you're the only band in town, you're the only artist in town, so you're not competing with the millions of other artists on Spotify anymore. It's just you and the vehicles that you choose to promote yourself. and then being able to use NFTs to sell that and to retain the majority of that. Well, that's pretty powerful. And there's also, I don't know, it'll be interesting to see how much fans can benefit from supporting an artist in a financial standpoint, because the only difficult there to work out, and I haven't looked deep enough into it, but it would be, how do you give enough away to fans without eroding your own profitability and your own revenue to the point where you're not, then all of a sudden it's the same problem as you had with giving record companies and promoters at 90% of your revenue. So that has changed, and maybe it is, you just, your first 1,000 diehard fans are attached to you financially, and then the rest, they just help promote you. And so I see there's lots of opportunity with this, and this goes back to the peer-to-peer thing. I think that is where I think there's an untapped part of Web3 that is really evolving, is what things can be sold peer-to-peer, and eliminating what economists would call transaction costs. You take that out of the equation, all of a sudden there's more value that stays in that value chain. And I see that with arts.
That sounds amazing. So obviously a large project for yourself and your team, still evolving over time. What help do you need if someone's out there watching this and they feel inspired by it? What help do you need before we actually tell them where to go to, if they're looking for support in reverse? So yeah, what do you need?
Well, be a member of the community, get involved in Discord, follow us on Twitter, all that, and just tell your friends that there's something out there that's positive, and it's a movement that is gaining momentum. Like anybody in this space, like when we launched the tokens, it's looking very promising. But 3/4 the way there now. I'm sorry, about 1/4 of the way now. But with Christmas, it's kind of slowed down a bit. We're going to raise $1 million before the end of January would be my prediction, depending on how fast people get over the holiday hangover. But once that happens, there'll be a number of things that I've been kind of a little bit financially hamstrung, that I'll be able to do to really build the community. And then, like I mentioned, in somewhere second quarter of the calendar year, we'll launch the tokens. So if you believe in this, get involved, and from a financial standpoint, because there will be financial benefits for you as well. And then I guess it may sound like bullshit. Be nice to people around you. Like, honestly, whether you're involved with a Laughing Otter or not, just remember your neighbor's a good person. Treat him as such, and just find ways that you to remind yourself of that, and to remind yourself of your own life and the positive parts in it.
Very good message, mate. So where did people go to find out about the Laughing Otter? If you're, say, a creator, an artist, or just want to be part of the community, or even a philanthropist who wants to invest?
Well, you can find me. I'm probably the only Jeff Bogensberger on LinkedIn. That's a good place to get in contact with me. There's thelaughingOtter.com is the website that we're flushing out. We're getting better every day. There's the Laughing Otter Discord, Laughing Otter Twitter, Laughing Otter Instagram, Laughing Otter Facebook. So we're all over the place. So, your traditional social media.
So we'll put a link in the description below for the Laughing Otter. For those of you, you would have seen it in the lower third earlier when we had Jeff's name come up, but it's Bogensberger. if you didn't quite catch it before and Jeff mentioned it. Jeff, want to say a huge thank you for coming on the show. Really, really inspired by the vision. It's a large vision, but I totally see how the tools of Web3 can make it a reality. So I wish you all the best with it, mate, and love to have you back on at some point to let us know how it's going.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And I've talked to you and Peter behind the scenes, and love what you're doing with Web3 TV and your vision as well. I think we share that this idea that Web3 is as much a social movement as it is a technology movement. And like it or not, there is going to be change in this world. So, and I love that disruption.
Love it too, mate. You're onto it, and that's exactly why we're part of it. So again, much appreciation from Pete and myself, and we'll see you in the next episode at some point.
All right. Thanks, mate.
Well, there it is, guys. I hope you enjoyed this Web3 TV episode. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And remember, if you'd like to watch every episode of Web3 TV, visit the link below or subscribe to our channel. And remember to hit the bell icon so that we can notify you every time a new episode is released. I'm Andrew McComb, and I look forward to sharing more inspiring Web3 TV episodes making a difference to the world. I'll see you soon.